Hey everybody, welcome to Magic Universe, and it's time for another message from Universe. And today's message is vibrating at a very light blue, and I'm reading you from a bright yellow. And I'm going to start with the tarot box. What does Universe want to tell us today? The tarot box. Message from Universe. There's this kind of weird energy coming through when I'm shuffling the cards, where like the cards want to jump out, but they don't like jump out enough where I feel like, oh, okay, this is the card, but they just keep kind of moving around in my hand. Okay. Nine of Swords. Interesting. Talks about like fears, nightmares, anxiety. Okay. All is well, as seen in the blanket. Like in the blanket, you can see there's harmony, there's hearts, there's balance in the scales, right? And this kind of water pitcher that talks about like emotions and stuff like that. So, and then like underneath the mattress, there's this symbolism, these moths or butterflies, symbolism for transformation and change. So it looks like on the physical realm, everything is okay, it's balanced. It's just there's a lot of like mental anguish. There's a lot of like fears of maybe like of the future, maybe fears that things aren't going well when there's actually a lot of stability in the physical. Okay. So in the emotional realm, probably in the mental realm, there's just a lot of thoughts, overthinking, anxiety, things like that. Almost, and then also this shadow that's being cast on her hair right here. I kind of feel like maybe, the concept of like the boogeyman, where you're afraid of something that's not real, or you're afraid of something that's not there, or like being afraid of your own shadow, that kind of a thing, right? So it's funny how the deck was feeling in my hand when I was shuffling it, and then the first card that comes out is the Nine of Swords, that has all these kind of energies to it. Here's Judgment, and one more. Strength. Okay. So judgment can literally be talking about judgment, like fear of judgment from yourself, fear of judgment from other people, from higher authority. Like maybe you think there's like a correct, like a quote correct way to do things in life, or whatever it is that you're being afraid of or being anxious about, and that you're afraid you're doing it wrong. Like there's a right way and you're doing it the wrong way. Like it could be that kind of judgment. Another way of interpreting this card is hearing a calling, from your inner self, your inner source, your higher self, and being rebirthed into that, like choosing to go in that direction, right? Instead of looking at the fear that you're, I don't really see it as it's physically surrounding you, but it just might be mental energy that's around you. Because thoughts are things, right? That when so the example I'm going to give you is like, so there's a haunted house. Say there's a haunted house. The reason why the house is haunted is because maybe some stuff happened there, right? Maybe people projected a lot of thoughts into that space, and so there aren't physical when you're looking at a haunted house, it's not really about physical beings being there. It's more about like non-physical thoughts floating around. And if you're a match to those fears, to like the anguish, or to like whatever kind of like negativity that might be there, then it will manifest into things that might scare you, right? Like sounds or creaks or, whatever. But it's really just about energy. I mean, in a haunted house, there's not like an actual physical thing that's there, or otherwise they wouldn't call it haunted, right? The word haunted kind of makes you think that it's like these things that you can't see, right? Or like these things that you just kind of sense is just kind of creepy. So it's all about energy. And I feel like this is about that. So it's not the physical things around you that are scaring you so much as it's just like these energies, and it's surrounding you in a sense that maybe these thoughts have been projected. Either you're projecting it onto yourself, or other people have projected it onto you, or maybe other people's have projected it and you're a match to it. And so now, through the law of attraction, the energies are coming together into this space that is in a way, in a sense, like surrounding your head, the way it's shown here in the picture, right? And so next to the judgment card, where if we're reading this as like a calling from your inner source, your source is calling you out of this energy into like kind of like cleansing yourself from this fear energy into something that's more in alignment to your true self, to the true love and the true sense of who you really are as a spirit, right? And especially since the strength card comes out next, it's kind of like, I feel like your spirit is talking to you, your spirit team is talking to you, asking you to kind of leave behind the mental fears and look towards your inner strength, look towards the goodness and the positivity inside of you, look towards the light that's inside you. And it's a choice, anytime you have kind of mental anguish, mental disturbance of any sort, you get to make a choice, because you have to kind of like be able to say, I'm stronger than this fear, I'm stronger than whatever this thing is bothering me. And you have to make a choice to focus your mind towards the thing that feels better, rather than the thing that you're afraid of. Because if you say, well, I have no choice, I have to be in this energy, then you're taking away your own power, you're taking away your own empowerment, right? So your spirit is actually you, right? The bigger you. And the bigger you is calling your human mind, to focus on the things that feel better, to focus on the true you that is not the fear, okay? To focus on your inner strength, okay? And it gets easier. The more you do it, the more you make the decision to not be afraid of whatever this is that's bothering you, and to look towards the strength. You see the sun right here? The sun's going to get brighter and brighter. The light within you is going to get brighter and brighter. This is kind of like, oh yeah, do you see this? This is kind of like night into day transition that's happening right here, where like this is in the nighttime, and then this is the dawn, right? The rebirth. And then here the sun is up in the sky. It's morning. It's morning into noon, right? The sun is rising. Yeah. Okay. And the next one is from my Money and the Law of Attraction app right there. And so we're going to do a little, wait, where is it? Where's the shuffle thing? Oh, there we go. And we shuffle. Oh my gosh. I have control over the thoughts, I think. Isn't that what we just said? That is so funny. That is the key to everything, right? The key into the keyhole of your eye. What do you choose to look at? What do you choose to think about? What do you choose to focus on? That's so awesome. Oh, and then it's number 33, which the number 3 also sometimes can symbolize like the Trinity, for those people who are Christian, or is it Christian or Catholic, that where they talk about the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. I don't know. I'm not not religious, but the 3 a lot of times can represent like Jesus. And so for those of you who one of my Catholic friends from a long time ago, she told me before that if you ever get into if you ever have that thing where you're asleep and you can't wake up, what is that called? There's a term for it. It's escaping my mind at the moment, but where you're kind of like half awake, you're in bed but you can't move, that kind of paralysis thing. I forget what it's called, but I think it has the word paralysis in it. But she says if that happens, all you have to do is call on Jesus Christ. And I said, well, what if I'm not Catholic, right? And she goes, it doesn't matter, you just call on Jesus Christ and he'll come help you. And actually, I did that one time and it worked. It got me out of that paralyzed state and I was able to move again. And I thought that was really, really interesting. Now, do I really believe that Jesus Christ came and helped me? I don't know. I don't know. But I think it has to do with when you focus on an energy that you believe is like a good energy, just that shift in your perspective where say you believe in source energy, or you want to call, Jesus source energy, or you want to call God, or you want to call, whatever other kind of God, goddess, deity, whatever you believe in, right? And you believe that it's a good energy, if you can call it angels if you want, right? That that just you focusing your mind on something that feels good to you, that feels like a good energy to you, that will shift you out of that paralysis. So for those of you where this might represent that, this 9 of Swords might represent that state where you're kind of like stuck between being awake and being asleep and you feel like you can't move, then you can try this little trick. But yeah, the number 3 can also a lot of times indicate like Jesus. So if calling on Jesus helps you get out of your fear, like if you're Christian or Catholic and you believe in Jesus and you feel like that's a benevolent force for you, and if focusing on that, if focusing on God, if focusing on angels, focusing on your spiritual beliefs helps you, that could be this calling right here. So it's just whatever works for you, okay? And maybe calling on Jesus gives you strength, right? So depending on your beliefs. But I just thought that was interesting that this is like a number 33 right there. So the back of this card says, since you have control over what thoughts you offer, what could be more just than the powerful law of attraction responding equally to everyone who offers a vibration? Once you gain control over the thoughts you think, your sense of injustice will subside and will be replaced with the exuberance for life and the zest to create that you were born with. Let everything in the universe be an example to you of the way the laws of the universe work. So this is basically saying that everything is really fair in life because everybody has the ability to project thoughts, to think thoughts and offer a vibration, right? And it's about gaining control over the thoughts that you think. and not letting thoughts that may be around you, that may be from other people or maybe generated even by by you yourself, that you have control over what you think. You have control over what you decide to observe and what you decide to focus on. And whatever it is that you focus on, it grows, right? And you just have to make that decision that you're going to let your inner guidance guide you towards what is the better perspective for you to take, and to let that grow to kind of move you out of this state of anxiety or fear or whatever this is that's bothering you. Okay? Yep. That is so cool that this came out and we were just talking about that exactly. All right. So I will put my phone here and I'll show it to you again in the final spread. Well, actually, that's not a good idea, the reflection. All right, move on to the next one. Tarot of Mystical Moments. So what's bothering you, you guys? I mean, Nine of Swords came out first. There's something that you're afraid of. So this just came out, and it came out reversed. Ace of Cups. So the Ace of Cups. Usually the Ace of Cups upright talks about falling in love, the beginning of an emotion, the beginning of feeling good about something. And in this particular card, usually I kind of read this as like reception, like receiving of something, right? In reverse, though, it kind of gives this feeling of, say, if you also read tarot, the Four of Cups, where something is being offered to you, like something good is coming down and being offered to you, but you're not receiving it for some reason. And I feel like, so say if your spirit or your spirit team or Jesus, whoever, the good energy is calling you, is giving you healing energy, is projecting to you good thoughts, but you're in fear, so you're not hearing it, right? It's a choice that you get to make for yourself, because you have control over you have control over what you think. You have control over what you decide, and we can read this as like your judgment, right? What you decide to focus on your perception. It's so interesting. You know how this light blue, and she's wearing a light blue, and I'm reading you from the yellow of the sun and of this like golden energy that's coming down from source, that's being that the angels are calling you to. That's interesting. Okay, one more. Okay, Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups talks about stepping away from whatever is here into this kind of like unknown place, and following your heart, following your intuition into the unknown, right? And so read together with this, it's walking away from this fear towards, this kind of releasing and relaxing and trusting faith, right? Moving into believing that good exists, moving into believing that good is good. Sometimes it's hard. This is reminding me of around that time when I had my spiritual awakening experience. I'm going to take a sip of water before I continue. But like a couple of videos ago, I had told the story of my spiritual awakening, and there. So you can go back and watch that video if you haven't. But basically, what happens like before my spiritual awakening, what happened was I had been doing a lot of meditation, and this energy was coming into my space. I felt like it was down through my crown chakra, the top of my head. And I was afraid to let it in because I didn't know what it was, right? But I just felt something pushing on the top of my head, trying to get in. Like every time I fell asleep, I would feel it and it would wake me up because I was scared of it, right? The fear. Because I didn't know what it was. And then, the end of that story is actually a good ending, because it turned out that it was my own spirit that was trying to come into and blend my spirit consciousness with my physical consciousness, with my human consciousness. And I had the most amazing blissful experience once I let it in, but I had to get over that fear. So this is what that is. I kind of feel like for some of you, maybe you're going through this experience of like, how much can I trust spirit? How much can I trust my spiritual path to really let go of this kind of physical reality? I mean, not entirely let it go, but let go of it enough so that you can experience your non-physical reality of who you really are. It's kind of like, if you know the movie The Matrix, right? Where Neo has to decide judgment. He has to make the judgment. Is he going to take the red pill or the blue pill? Does he want to stay in the Matrix, or does he want to know who he really is? And if you're having this kind of like existential crisis, which this might represent for some of you, where it's like, because for a period of time, I had one foot in the physical realm and one foot in the spiritual realm, and I was like, I was afraid to step both feet into the spiritual realm and completely trust it, because I don't know, the physical realm was the only reality that I knew of, consciously for so long, and all the people around me were in the physical realm, and it's like, how much can I trust these urgings from the inside, these callings from within that are non-physical? How much can I trust that? Can I make that decision to walk into that unknown? So I'm so glad that I did, because it changed my life, and it opened my experience up to there being so much more to existence than the physical world. And this is a choice that you need to make for yourself. And if you're watching this, and if any of this resonates with you, and it is about a spiritual existential crisis that you're going through, this is your spirit calling you to let go of the fear. Okay, so if this is not a spiritual thing that you're going through, and you're just going through some other kind of mental anguish, and they're still calling you to let go of the fear and to walk away from the fear that you feel is happening, and trusting that everything is going to be okay. But yeah, so for those of you where it is a spiritual thing, this is their sign talking to you, through me, through this video, to let you know it's okay to let go of that fear and go into the unknown. Yeah, so it was difficult for me to have one foot over here and one foot over there. It happened a couple of times. It wasn't just like that one time where I decided to just relax and let go and allow spirit to come into my body. And then when I realized, oh, it's just me. It's just the bigger me coming into my human me, blending together. And then I had the most blissful experience. But beyond that, like, it There was another time, maybe it happened like a couple more times, like during my psychic training, where again it was that one foot in the physical realm, one foot in the spiritual realm, the psychic realm, and there was fear involved, and I felt like I felt torn in a sense that, well, I know too much now. I know too much about the non-physical, about the psychic, to be completely just normal in the physical realm, like a normal person who doesn't know anything about the non-physical, right? As like I know too much to be normal, but I also couldn't let go enough of the physical logic in order to go completely and not be afraid of the unknown, of the non-physical, you know. So I was kind of like, for a couple more times I was kind of stuck in that in between. And again, when I finally did decide to just step into that unknown, then I realized, all those times where I was afraid and I was stuck in the in between, when I made a decision and I chose to go into the unknown, it was always better. It was always like, oh, there was nothing to be afraid of, you know. I could only find that out by stepping into that unknown. And so that's a decision you need to make for yourself. And it's okay, you know, like if you're not ready for that and you decide to stay more in the physical realm, then the opportunities will show up for you again and again later on. Like there's nobody's forcing you to do anything, right? You get to make your choice about what you want, but they're just letting you know there's really nothing to be afraid of, and you can fully, you know, follow your faith and go into the unknown. Because once you step into it, then it becomes known, and then you realize, oh, there was nothing to be afraid of in the first place. And yeah, that's it's an interesting dilemma, because I'm not sure. I mean, I'm just thinking like the fact that if you have come across this video and you're watching this and you have stuck with me so far into this message, that you are probably in that place where you have gone too far and you can't go back. Because once you know something, you can't unknow it, right? It's like once you kind of learn about the non-physical realm, you can't really unknow it. You can't pretend to go back into the matrix and pretend that you know the other realm doesn't exist. So that's the choice that you get to make for yourself. But what's next? The Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. It's just that every time that I personally have come across this kind of crossroads thing spiritually, I always find out later on that there was nothing to be afraid of. And it was just like, it's just, there's a lot of like mythology, I want to say, around what there is to be afraid of. And especially if you come from, since I don't come from a religious background, it doesn't bother me as much. But I think in my training, I met a lot of other people who started talking about like weird things, and maybe some of that kind of infiltrated my mind, and then I became scared, you know. And but that's a lot of the what religions talk about, like evil and all of that stuff. That might be scary, but that all comes from like human minds. That's not coming from spirit. That's all really coming from you know, the, not to say those people don't really believe in that themselves, but it comes from humans. It doesn't come from spirit. Spirit is all about love. Okay. All right. Transformation. Yep. There's a lot of that See, you see the butterflies here, the wings over here, and the butterflies over here. You're going through some kind of transition. And it's like when you emerge, when you remove the mask of the physical reality and you emerge, like reborn into your fresh new self with a fresh new perspective of who you really are. There's so much, like your third eye opens. Like if you see this picture right here, she's got this kind of thing on her forehead, on her third eye. You just see things and you know things in a different way. It's like, will you allow your rebirth to be not painful? That's your choice. You can make it painful and suffer through it, or you can, go wholeheartedly, follow that calling and just go into it. Go into it wholeheartedly and step in both feet, right? It's only when you're straddling the two worlds that it's hard. Make that choice. Patience and planning. This also talks about the in-between. So this is also the Seven of Pentacles, right? Where it talks about you're in progress, you're assessing to see how this talks about the in-between. It talks about you're not at the beginning and you're not at the end. You're kind of in the middle, and you're it's like, are you doing well? Are you doing not well? And you kind of have to assess to see where you are. And I like that it has like the two pillars here where this is like a portal, a gate that you get to go through, right? And so this might indicate that this process right here is taking some time, and it's not like an instant thing. It's not going to happen like overnight. That this might take a while for you to transform, for you to go through this period of releasing the fear of deciding to walk into the unknown, right? Deciding to turn this Ace of Cups over where you actually are receiving something instead of turning away from it. It's like it might take some time for you to make this decision about whether you want to go through this or not, whether you want to complete the transformation or stay in the cocoon, right? So what do you want to do? And again, it's your decision, and you don't have to make that decision right away. But however long you want to go through the sphere is up to you. It's completely up to you. There's a calling for you to come this way. How long you want to stay here is completely up to you. There's a peacefulness to this energy too. There's not like, if we're talking about God, right? If we're talking about religion or like any kind of like higher force, if you believe in something that's of a higher authority, that see where spirit is coming from, the universe that's giving the message, the spirit that is giving the message. There is no hierarchy. There is no like higher authority in terms of they're the boss of you. It's not like that at all. It's just your higher self, meaning like a higher vibrational self. Not that your higher self is the boss of you. It's more like it's you, but from a different perspective, from a bigger perspective. Okay. From a more omniscient perspective. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that they're bossing you around telling you what to do. It's just kind of like I've spoken before about the mothership and the explorer, right? You the human are the explorer, and then there's the mothership, that's the bigger you, that knows the layout of the plan, that knows what's going on and stuff, and just kind of like guiding you, saying like, hey, why don't you explore over here in this planet, and come this way, because they have the GPS, they have the map of the design, you know, and they can see from that higher perspective what's actually going on, and then they can use the GPS of your emotions to guide you towards the place that will bring you more joy, the place that will bring you more growth, right? So using your emotions, like the fear is at the lower end of the scale, meaning that's not the place to go. And then they're calling you towards feeling stronger, towards feeling love, which it's reversed right now. But if you will turn it upright, then you will feel the love, and calling you through this transformation in an easier way. And I'm feeling there's this kind of calm energy here, that they're not bossing you around. They're calling you gently. They're calling you through love. Okay. And so they're not saying you have to do anything. They're just trying to make life easier for you. Any fears that you're deciding to believe in, it to decide to kind of marinate yourself in, it's like self-perpetuated. And they're saying life can be a lot easier than swimming in that soup over there. Okay. All right. Next one. Whispers of love. Okay. Physical touch. A tender touch can mean so much. Let's read from the book on that one. What I see in the picture, though, it's kind of like you, the human, right here, manifesting something that's in energy form into the physical where you can touch it. But let's see, that's number 47. Sometimes a hug is exactly what is needed. Physical connection is important to humans. Hand holding, kissing, embracing, back rubs, an arm around the shoulder, or a pat on the back are ways of expressing support, care, encouragement, and more. Think about how good you feel when someone greets you with a warm hug or offers you a comforting hand. These small interactions can really help you with your day. Giving and receiving through touch helps to keep your heart open. Physical touch is immeasurably vital in creating a spiritual bond. The delicate force provided through touch helps build trust and understanding in your relationships. Physical touch can calm, console, and express much more than words. A woodsman kisses the hand of a statue, that's what's happening in the picture, and changes her from stone to flesh. Imagine how important this could be. Giving someone a hand, a squeeze, a high five, or a hug can change someone's entire day. I feel like this is talking about, say you're going through this fear, right? You're in this process of deciding which way to go and stuff. If this is, well, either way, whatever kind of fear it is that you're going through, having someone physical around you give you a comforting touch, a hug, an embrace of some sort, find a friend, find a relative, family member, whoever, right? A partner of some sort to kind of say, I'm going through this kind of fear. Maybe you don't even need to explain what kind of fear you're going through, but just having some kind of moral support, having some kind of physical support, physical touch, to just say, help me ground myself back into my body, would be very helpful. If you have like a pet, like a dog or something that you can hug, physically touching a living thing would help you ground yourself back into your body and feel less fear. Okay, so whether that be whatever this kind of fear that you're going through, right? Like maybe it's just a more regular, normal kind of anxiety, physical realm kind of anxiety, or if you're going through this kind of spiritual existential crisis that we're talking about, right? That it might be helpful for you to find a friend or someone that you can just like ask for a hug from, or you can hug them and have them hug you in return. And that physical touch will help ground you back into your body so that it's easier for you to make your choice, or just in this process. Sometimes it's easy to, like, if this is like a spiritual thing where you're kind of stuck between two realms, that you might feel a little too floaty because you're scared. Because when you're scared, you're kind of lifting out of your spirit is lifting out of your body, because you're not letting your spirit, your energy, your life force into your body. And a physical touch from a physical being could be very helpful to ground you back into your body while you're going through this transition. Okay. Another thing that's coming through is exercise will also help ground you back into your body so that you don't feel as much fear. I was just reading about earthing, grounding, like with your feet to grass or sand or the earth, so that you can connect to earth. That's also physical touch. So like your bare feet on a lawn or something like that, in a park or on a beach or something like that. You can feel the energy of the earth, your connection to physical earth. That might be helpful for you. So that, speaking of if this is a spiritual thing, if you're stepping both feet into the non-physical realm, it doesn't mean that you're leaving earth. All it means is that you're believing yourself to be a spiritual being having a physical experience on earth. So what it actually does, instead of like lifting you out of your body, it actually opens up your body so that you come more into your body. But you're just seeing from you're experiencing physical life from the perspective of your spiritual being. That's what it means. Like when you open that third eye, you're still in your body. You're not leaving the physical realm. You're actually more in the physical realm, but you're understanding who you are, and you're understanding what you're seeing through that third eye, instead of being confused by, like, say if you're in fear and you've been seeing psychic things and you're not understanding it. The reason why you're not understanding it is because you're in fear. It's this kind of weird cycle, right? And what happens is, like, if you will allow your spirit to come in more, you and your spirit become one, you're actually more in your body, so that whatever you experience, whatever you're experiencing psychically and spiritually and energetically, actually will make more sense to you instead of less sense. And I mean, if you're in the middle of this and you're like, those are just words and I can't trust the word of somebody on the internet, totally understandable. But it's actually something that you have to do for yourself to actually get what I'm talking about. So I don't know if it's helpful to you to hear words from somebody who's gone through it. But if you're going through something like that, where you're afraid of the energies that you're experiencing and you don't understand it, actually allowing your spirit to come more into your body will help you understand it and help you not be afraid of it. So grounding more into your body, grounding your spirit more into your body. Okay. All right. And the last one, the Shaman Stream Oracle. This reading, this message is like, it seems to be, I mean, there's two ways of looking at it. It could be, we were talking about like the quote normal physical realm kind of anxiety that you're going through, where this applies. But if we're talking about the existential crisis, the more spiritual anxiety that you're going through, it's very, very specific. And so if you're drawn to this message and you actually understand what I'm talking about, Spirit is talking to you specifically. Since I'm kind of in this kind of circle, this this world of psychic spiritual stuff, I know some psychic spiritual people, and I read books by people who have experienced something similar. So if you talk to this kind of specific circle of people, this group of people, they'll understand what you're talking about, but and will have had similar experiences. But if you go outside of this kind of small group of people to like quote normal, the mass consciousness, those people will look at you and go like, you're weird. Like they won't get it. They won't understand it. But I mean, good thing is I feel like on earth right now, more and more people are opening up to spirituality, and more people are understanding the concept of the different dimensions and realms and stuff like that. So maybe it's not that weird anymore. But my point is, if you're watching this and you're experiencing this, these words that universe is saying are for you. They're specific to you, and it's not random that you're watching this. Because I'm not thinking, you know, I mean, I have a small channel and I don't have a lot of viewers and stuff like that. But if you're watching this and this makes some kind of sense to you, this message is for you. So pay attention. All right. Reconciliations, wailing tree. I feel like so if this is more of like a normal physical realm kind of anxiety thing, for those of you who resonate more with that, this might be talking about reconciliations with the people in your life with so your anxiety might actually have something to do with some relationship kind of thing where you're worried about something with someone. And reconciliations talks about like forgiveness, talks about like being able to see both sides of the story and stuff like that. And maybe after you go through this thing where you make your decision, where you go through your transformation and you go through this kind of like healing period where you rebirth into this person with a newer perspective, and you're no longer afraid of whatever it is that you're afraid about, that there's some kind of thing, especially right here with physical touch and the wailing tree with the reconciliation, that the person that you come together and you make amends with will like having like, you know, if you're making up with a friend that maybe you had a fight with or whatever, a hug can do wonders, you know, more than words, right? So I'm seeing something like that over here. But it's basically really talking about like healing, forgiveness, coming together, talking about closure, right? And closure not necessarily meaning the ending of a relationship, but closure meaning the closing of the gap due to some kind of conflict between you and another person, right? If we're talking about like the spiritual, I kind of feel like this is reconciliation of coming into terms within yourself about like you making peace with, you know, like all of the fears that you had, and kind of reconciling within your mind that the fears are nothing to be afraid of. Okay. And also maybe reconciliation, like coming together, union with your spirit, right? But we're going to take a look in the book for number 59, see what more we can get from this. Grief and mourning, a time of necessary losses, reconciliations. When you encounter the wailing tree on your path, it's an invitation to stay a while and regroup, a place for you to rest and allow yourself to say goodbye to what no longer serves. So, right? Because this whole time we're talking about walking away from something and transforming, moving from one place to another place to be rebirthed into a newer sense of yourself, right? So it could be talking about that. You may have been overdoing things, working too hard, or putting too much effort into life with little reward. If you've been considering making a change, now is the time to do so. One important thing to consider before you make any changes is that you need to allow yourself to feel your disappointment, your loss, and mourn what was and what could not be. This is a way to honor your experience, to give yourself time to consider all the gifts in it, to put proper closure on it. Oh, we were just talking about closure. To really know what you've learned as you walk away from it. Here again, pointing at Eight of Cups over there, walking away. And into something new. Yep, right here. Even in the perception of failure, there is much good to be discovered. However, skipping the stages of loss doesn't get you to reconciliation any faster. And so it's interesting, we were talking about like patience and planning, that it might take time for you to go through this process, right? That like no skipping of the stages, right? In fact, you will discover that you will have to come back at some point. So do it all now. Okay. So, however, skipping the stages of loss doesn't get you to reconciliation any faster. In fact, you will discover that you will have to come back at some point to kind of like, if you skipped it, to come back and do it again, right? So do it all now. Look at it all squarely and honestly and stay with your feelings. Life is not either or, it's both and, this and that. So as you dive in and process this, allow it to become a temporary travel companion on your journey. The feelings that this will bring to the surface will be challenging for sure. Yet, like all things, they will pass soon enough and you will be more enriched by the experience. So this might be resonant for some of you. Okay. All right. See if there's anything else that I'm looking at here. The card that's really standing out to me right now is the Judgment card, where it's like, after you go through this process, however long it takes for you to get to the point of closure, of coming together and going through the transformation, the rebirth part of it, there's a lot of joy and a lot of like clarity, a lot of like a sense of feeling cleansed, like you're clean from all of the muck, all of the stuff that's happening right here, and a sense of like stepping fresh into the next stage, you know. So whatever that means for you in your situation, you know, since I'm reading a group, it's hard to say what we're talking about specifically, but when you come out of this, it's going to be good and you're going to be that much stronger for it. And yeah, when you come out of it, this Ace of Cups is going to be turned around. Okay. And I want to bring back that one. I have control over the thoughts that I think. And this is the key. This is the key to the whole message, is that this is that action step that you're going to take. You have control over the thoughts that you think, okay? That's the action step. And then this is the process of going through that whole thing. All right. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.